Welcome back to the deep dive. We are dropping you right back into it today.
Right into the deep end.
No preamble, no warm-up at all. If you were with us for the last deep dive, you know exactly where we are.
And if you're just joining, just try to keep up.
Because the clock is already ticking. It's been, what, exactly 24 hours?
Exactly. 24 hours since the jackpot killer assassinated the lottery winner, Arthur Pendleton. The dust hasn't even settled.
And we really need to be clear here for everyone listening. This isn't one of our usual case of the week analyses.
No, not at all. This is a direct continuation.
It's seamless. We're looking at a manhunt that is just spiraling. And frankly, from the files for day 2, the FBI is already way behind.
They are completely playing catch-up against a ghost.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The logs have it at 8 a.m. We're in the BPU headquarters, the war room. And you'd think it would be this, organized chaos, but it sounds more like a pressure cooker about to just explode.
It is a total clash of ideologies. On one hand, you have Elias Vance, the profiler.
The mathematician. The brain.
Right, and the logs say he is just frantic. He's practically vibrating with this nervous energy.
And on the other side of the room,
You have Agent Hatch, the tactical expert. She's been up all night. She's exhausted, and she is just screaming at the local PD in Vegas.
I was reading through that email chain. She is not mincing words. It's all caps, exclamation points. She wants physical evidence.
She wants camera footage, fingerprints, anything she can actually touch, something tangible.
And while she's doing that, Elias is... What? He's just staring at a whiteboard?
Essentially, yes. And that is the absolute core of the conflict here. Hatch wants a lead she can follow with a gun, and Elias is betting the entire investigation on the math.
He's just ignoring the physical side of it.
He thinks it's a distraction. And you can't forget Dr. Eris Thorne is still in the lab somewhere, still trying to process that poison dart from yesterday.
But the real friction is between the profiler and the tactical agent.
Right. And to really get why Hatch is so furious, you have to unpack Elias's whole methodology.
Yeah.
Because to a normal person, and especially to an agent like Hatch, it sounds insane.
Well, he's not looking for the killer.
He's not. He's looking for the next victim.
Which is, it's completely backward. You find the bad guy to stop the murder.
He wants to find the next murder to find the bad guy. I mean, this is the core of the whole jackpot killer profile. Most serial killers, they have a cooling off period.
Right, the refractory period. They kill, they get it out of their system, and they go dormant for a while.
Weeks, months, sometimes years. Elias's theory is that this killer's cooling off period is 0.
0. So he's just constantly on.
It's not just a spree, it's a compulsion. The killer is targeting statistical anomalies.
People who beat the odds.
Exactly. Arthur Pendleton won the lottery, 1 in 300 million. So the killer balanced the equation, and Elias believes he's already scanning for the next person who got lucky.
Okay, let's dig into that scanning part, because the file mentions an algorithm. And usually it's just a buzzword for, a magic computer.
But this is actually pretty specific. He's using a custom deviation index. He's not scraping crime reports.
He's scraping news feeds, social media trends.
Yeah, and actuaries tables. He's actively looking for miraculous survival stories.
So he's looking for good news to predict a murder.
He's looking for statistical impossibilities. People who should be dead but aren't. He's filtering for people who, cheated death.
Because in the killer's mind, they now owe a debt to probability. And that's terrifying. Just imagine being Agent Hatch in that room. You're exhausted, you're angry, and your partner is ignoring the crime scene to scroll through Google News.
You'd want to strangle him. It seems like pure negligence.
Until it works.
And that brings us to 11:42 a.m.
The moment the whole system just screams.
A statistical anomaly detected alert comes through the BPU network. And this isn't a small ping, this is a 5-alarm fire.
I've got the NTSB notification right here. Flight 828, a commercial airliner crashes in the Rocky Mountains.
A catastrophic event.
Yeah.
142 fatalities. Just a massive tragedy.
But Elias isn't looking at the tragedy. He's looking at the outlier.
He's looking at seat 17B.
Julian Hayes, the sole survivor.
Walks away from the wreckage with nothing but a broken collarbone.
Hold on. The flight data says the impact velocity was 180 knots. They hit the side of a mountain. How does anyone survive that?
That is the exact question Elias asked. The file actually cites the specific probability of surviving that kind of terminal velocity impact. It was a statistical absurdity.
What were the odds?
1 in 4.7 million.
1 in 4.7 million. That's another winning lottery ticket.
And to the jackpot killer, It is a dinner bell.
And that's the aha moment.
It's a terrifying one. The whole energy in the war room just shifts. This isn't a plane crash anymore. Elias knows, with mathematical certainty, the killer is already on his way to finish the job.
That shift from investigation to a race is so clear in the logs. Hatch stops yelling at Vegas PD. The transcript just says she stands up and yells, "Wheels up in 10."
They're flying to Denver, but they're starting from behind. The crash happened hours ago. The survivor, Julian Hayes, he's already being medevaced to St. Luke's Hospital. The killer has a huge head start.
So that brings us to the climax. We jump to 10:15 p.m. Denver, St. Luke's Hospital.
The team lands, they rush straight to the ICU. Hatch locks the whole floor down.
She's expecting a shooter, right? Someone with a silenced pistol.
It's the standard tactical response.
Yeah.
Secure the perimeter, protect the asset, but they're already too late.
The killer has been there.
He's been there. And he didn't leave a body, not yet. He left a signature.
And Dr. Thorne finds it in the basement checking the infrastructure. A 1922 silver piece dollar.
Resting right on the main oxygen pressure valve. Just like with the lottery winner, this obsession with luck, with currency.
But the coin wasn't the weapon. The weapon. Okay, we have to unpack this because this trap is just, it's on another level. The bomb squad schematic shows it wasn't a bomb. It was a math problem.
A beautiful, terrifying piece of engineering. The killer spliced a digital timer into the hospital's oxygen regulation system. But it wasn't counting down to 0.
It was counting up.
It was counting up, and it was programmed to follow a Fibonacci sequence.
Wait, like from high school math, the 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 thing, why would he use that?
Because the Fibonacci sequence represents natural growth. It's in seashells, in galaxies. The killer programmed the valve to open incrementally based on those numbers.
So it starts small. At 8 seconds, the valve opens a tiny bit. At 13, a little more. The hospital sensors probably just read it as a minor fluctuation.
Exactly. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's harmless,
Yeah.
but the growth becomes exponential. That snowball becomes an avalanche.
And the report says the kill threshold was the 144-second mark.
At 144 seconds, the valve was programmed to open completely, bypassing the regulator. It would release pure, pressurized oxygen into the lines.
And Julian Hayes is upstairs on a ventilator.
Oh,
So the
yeah?
ventilator is expecting these gentle breaths, and it gets hit with a fire hose of pure oxygen.
It would rupture his lungs instantly. Survive a plane crash only to drown in air. The cruelty of it fits the profile perfectly.
And this is where the team finally clicks. Elias is in the basement, he sees the timer, and he recognizes the sequence.
He screams into his radio, "It's Fibonacci! 144 is the kill shot." But he can't stop it. He's the profiler. He gets the why, but he can't stop the how.
That's where Hatch comes in.
The scene in the report is just cinematic. Elias is yelling, "Hatch, pull the plug, now!" And she doesn't hesitate. She doesn't ask why.
She trusts the math.
She runs in and physically rips the ventilator tube out of Julian Hayes' throat.
Which is brutal. The medical report says it caused significant trauma to his airway.
It is brutal, but it disconnected him from the system. She broke the seal.
And the timing on that.
The margin of error was 1.2 seconds. The pressure logs show the main line exploded 1.2 seconds after she pulled that tube.
1.2 seconds. That is one breath.
If she had hesitated for even a heartbeat, he would be dead.
It's just, wow. It proves Elias's algorithm was right, but it also proves Hatch's brute force was necessary. You needed both of them.
You needed the math to see the trap and the muscle to break it.
Which brings us to the aftermath. The survivor is safe, traumatized, but alive. The team finally takes a breath, but the killer...
The killer was watching. Of
Yeah.
course he was.
Yeah.
You don't set a trap that elegant and just walk away. You want to see the equation balance out.
So we shift to the parking garage roof across the street, a sniper's nest. He was waiting for Hayes to die.
And when Hatch saved him, when the variable didn't go to 0, the killer fled. But he left something.
This is the first time he's been sloppy. Or maybe arrogant.
Could be.
Hatch sweeps the rooftop, no weapon, but she finds a notepad.
Filled with algebraic equations.
Hmm?
He was calculating the hospital's oxygen PSI by hand. He's obsessed.
But tucked inside that notepad, and this is the key,
Yeah.
was a laminated ID badge
An employee ID.
for a place called the Golden Oasis.
And that name. I mean, for most people, it means nothing. But Elias Vance knew it. Instantly.
Right? This isn't some hotel on the Vegas Strip.
No, it's a defunct underground casino. Underground as in it didn't officially exist. Legendary for high stakes, off-the-books games that were all mathematically rigged.
So our jackpot killer, this mathematical ghost, he used to work at a rigged casino.
It changes everything. Elias says it right there on the roof. He's not a ghost anymore. We know where he learned his math.
It makes perfect sense. Where else do you find that brutal intersection of probability and human ruin?
A casino. The house always wins. And this killer thinks he's the house. He's correcting the errors when someone wins too big.
He's the pit boss of reality.
Exactly.
So let's just synthesize this. We started with a frantic team at Quantico, using a predictive algorithm to find a victim.
We move through the tragedy of Flight 828, seeing how a public miracle becomes a private target.
We saw the Fibonacci trap in Denver, turning air itself into a weapon.
And we ended on a revelation. The Golden Oasis. The killer has a history, a location.
Which sets up the finale. But walking into a rigged casino, a labyrinth of deception.
Well, that leads us to the big question, doesn't it? The tagline from the files.
What are the odds?
Uh,
What are the odds our FBI team survives walking into a place like that, run by a mathematical psychopath?
the odds are not in their favor.
And here's a final thought to mull over. We think of luck as random chaos, but this killer sees it all as an equation to be solved.
But variables can be unpredictable. And Hatch and Elias, they are becoming variables he didn't account for.
So what happens when the variables stop behaving mathematically? What happens when the equation finally breaks?
Absolute chaos.
We'll find out in the conclusion of the Jackpot Killer saga. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you on the other side of the odds.